Rob, heading out for one of my creeks, creek number 2. It's one of my secluded places I like to go. Typically a lot of good smallmouth bass, some nice panfish. So I'm gonna head out, see if I can catch a few. Hopefully I'll get a nice good video series to be able to send them to you guys, and hope you enjoy them. I love creek fishing, and I'm looking at the web channels and seeing so many different other people loving this kind of fishing as well. So if you got a pole, if you got some fishing gear, you head out to some of those creeks. You never know what you're going to catch. Today I have no clue what size or quantity of fish I'm going to catch, but I got a feeling today's going to be a good day, a nice cloudy day, so it should be some good fishing. So you take care and peace out. Today just want to share with you some of the fishing gear that I'm going to be using. One of the things that I'm going to be using are these Nico Hellgrammite plastic baits. I got one of them rigged up here just simply with a lead head. It's not necessarily the prettiest, but these things work really well, and smallmouth bass love them. They're rugged, they're tough, they seem to endure quite a few fish before breaking down. That's going to be one of the ones that I go to. One of my most preferred plastic baits is just your basic tournament size or series strength 2 baits from Bass Pro. I particularly like the Snowflake. The Snowflake seems to work really well, particularly in the places where I fish. So I'll be using that. And the other of the lures that I'll be using right here on my rod already rigged up will be my Whopper Plopper. I love particularly the perch color. It seems to work really well for the smallmouth that I'm seeking. And surprisingly, a lot of panfish will hit this as well. Even as large as it is, the panfish seem to particularly prefer it, including the rock bass really seem to enjoy hitting that. I'm fishing with basically the Bionic blade. It's made by Bass Pro Shop. Not necessarily the greatest fishing pole, but it seems to work really well. I like the fact that it's lightweight. The cork action gives me a comfortable grip, and of course I'm fishing with the Argosia Silver Flame Max, and it seems to work really well. Fishing right now with about 12-pound line. Typically I don't fish with 12-pound line for these creek fishing, but I am for today. Still rigged up for my last fishing trip that I took in Pennsylvania along the Allegheny River. And then another pull I always like to take is an ultralight pull, and for that I have a Shakespeare ultralight pull here with the Contender reel. Works really well, fishing it with probably about 6-pound line I believe at this moment. And it just seems to be the one that I prefer to go for, particularly when I'm using the 2 baits and things such as that. So we're going to be heading out. I'm at this spot. This is spot number 2 for me. It's my fishing hole number 2 that seems to really catch a lot of good quality fish. So hoping today will not let me down and I'll have another one of those good days. So come and join me. Let's go get some fish. Didn't want to hit that tree. There we go. Whew. That spooked me. Wasn't expecting that. Well, let me go back. I'm right now using the Whopper Plopper. It seems to be, I've had 2 fish already come up and swat at it. So that might be the ticket. A fish that we're so passionate about. The reason I got into fishing was just that excitement of that first fish that I ever caught. that took my bait, ran with it. Just there was something about that that just got me addicted to it. And of course, as I got into it, that sound of that fish, those big ones, when they grab hold of your lure and they run with it, and you hear your line, you know, screaming as it's being pulled and tugged. That kind of excitement is just way beyond anything you can imagine. And I always look for that. I always know the majority of the fish I catch will be small, you know, in a sense of being, you know, if it's a bass, if it's a good 12-incher or whatever, I accept that as a very acceptable fish size. You know, if it's a pound or 2 pounds, that's really cool, particularly among creef fish. But boy, I tell you what, oh, there we go, we got one. Yes. But there's nothing like when you catch one of those big monster ones. Okay, we got our first fish. All right. Let me get him and not hook him, or have him hook me. Nice little pretty smallmouth bass. Get this one out of him first, if I can. Yep, there we go. All right, buddy. I don't want to hook your eye. There we go. There we go. First fish of the day. Say hello to everybody out there. This is why I'm addicted to fishing. There's nothing better than catching these smallmouth bass. That fish is probably only about maybe 11 inches, 12 inches at best. But yet, in that small little catch right there, you saw the fight that it gave me, and you saw and heard the line, you know, and there's nothing better than that. So thanks so much, buddy. Take care, get bigger, tell your friends about me, tell them I'm a nice guy. You can see all the fall leaves starting to fall down and come into the place where you gotta kind of try to maneuver around so as to not hook up on them. There we go. Yes. I believe it's a smallmouth. Yeah. Yeah, nice one too. All right, yes, a very nice one. Let's bring him in. And there we go. Ah, beautiful fish. Look at that. That is a monster smallmouth bass. That is a monster. And I basically had him with just 2 hooks, so I should be able to get out. Yeah, there we go. Ouch, let my finger go. Look at that big beast. And you remember how I told you that they are typically at this time of the year trying to fattening up, and they're trying to eat what they can. If you look inside that fish, you're going to see another fish in its mouth that it's already eaten earlier today. It's pretty impressive. But that's a nice smallmouth bass for this time of year, especially in this small creek that we have. So I'm going to release him, but before I do, I'm going to get a photo of him. Typically I like to get a photo of my big fish, the ones that I'm proud to catch. There we go. Let's see. All right. Get a portrait of myself with the fish. It's actually so big I can't put it all in the photo. All right. Well, let me release him and give you a chance to see this fish go. But it's a beautiful fish, and we hope to see him again. got a one. There we go. Check that out. This is the first time that I have ever caught a crappie. This is the first time that I've ever caught a crappie on this stretch of the river. So I am pretty excited. I think I'm going to take a picture of this crappie. Now, I know many people would be thinking, hey, you know, catch a bunch of those, you could take them home and eat them. You know, I'm primarily a fisherman. I enjoy the fishing and the sport, but I'm not necessarily one who enjoys just catching them and eating them. So most times I will catch them, take pictures of them, and then let them go, and pray that they get bigger and pray that we catch more of them in the future. That's kind of the passion that I have. There's nothing wrong with eating them. When I go out to restaurants and places like that, you can be sure that I'm ordering fish. But generally speaking, I catch and release most of the fish that I catch. If I should catch a fish that I accidentally, not intentionally, but accidentally kill, I then certainly will take that fish home. I won't let it go to waste. On the Whopper Plopper, if you remember, I shared with you that since my days of using it, I've been incredibly impressed with the hookup percentage I've had, which is still very true. And I'm not even discouraged with that fish that I just lost, the one that came up. He obviously didn't hit it with any kind of, you know, savagery, like, you know, he was significantly hungry or ready to just tear it up. He came up and kind of swapped at it. I think he might have even been small. I just had another one come up at it. So I think that's less the Whopper Plopper and more just the current way the fish are responding. But whenever I've had a fish just, I mean, really come up and hail and take this lure, I have not had a loss of one, other than, like I shared with you, 2 losses that I've had. But most of the time I'm catching them. And there we go. A nice, good, chubby rock bass. What a beautiful fish. These guys are a little crazy. You know, they're kind of like a crazy uncle that you have that has crazy stories that they can tell you. But boy, these fish are fun to catch. Let me get a good picture of them. You can see them right there. What a nice looking fish. That's a nice little rock bass. Got a little bit of a sore there from something, probably feeding, but say hello to everybody. You're now a star, and we're gonna let you go. Let's get bigger. So that's probably what was hitting it just a little bit ago when I cast over there. It must have a pocket of rock bass. And so as they were coming up, you know, they're obviously in the bass family, but they're more closely aligned with, you know, with your bluegill and your sunfish and that kind of fish. That definitely makes me feel better knowing that that's the kind that got off from it versus it being a smallmouth bass. Woo! Ooh, something just swiped at it. Came back. Oh, got it. Yes. Gotta love that sound, huh? There we go. Kind of an odd hook on it, but he must have tried to spit it out. Let me turn it off for a second. As you see, I just threw in the hellgrammite first cast and already caught myself a bluegill. So I'm just going to release him and let him go and see what happens. That was pretty cool. I cast it in there, and I mean, no sooner did I put it in there and immediately I got a fill of a fish hitting it. So I'm gonna leave it on for a second just in case I get one of those real nice ones, but he was hiding right up in that tree stump there. I cast it up there, so I'm gonna give it another try. Oftentimes if there's one, there's more. I felt it literally tugging at it the first thing I threw it in there. I think I got a stick. Yep. Second there, it felt like a fish. I was getting excited. Let me throw over. There's a log in the water over here. I don't know what it is about those hellgrammites, but you know, they just, fish love them. You know, nothing you could say about it. Just fish love them. Yep, I got one. Oh, lost him. Almost caught myself. Got myself a, looks like a small bass. There we go. Sorry if you missed that. Looks like he spit it out of his mouth. Caught him in the head. I don't think I've caught one of those before. There we go. You see that pretty little fish? Say hi to everybody. Sorry I hooked on the head. Hope you don't have a headache. Just caught one here. Gonna bring him in. Yeah, he's a little fighter. All right. There's that pretty fish. Just caught him. So I'm gonna let him go. Nice little smallmouth bass. Probably just about the size you catch in this creek, quite a bit. So let him go back, let him get bigger. All right, battery's getting a little bit low, but I'm coming upon a pretty decent hole that I typically do pretty well with catching a pretty decent smallmouth bass. So I'm gonna keep it rolling. Hopefully I got enough battery that will allow me to finish off this video and give it. Otherwise I'll have to come in for a second trip and add the two together. Trying to get down to these rocks because there's a tunnel down here that he tends to hang out. You might see it over there. That tunnel's where he likes to reside, but he has been known to roam this particular spot. And I've caught him just off the tunnel and basically thrown to the tunnel. Typically when the water's coming out of there, it tends to be a good place for him to hang out. That's not him, but I definitely will take it. All right. Nice little smallmouth. Oop, let me get it away from your eye, buddy. There we go. What a pretty fish. So we'll let him go back. Get bigger. You're not the one we're looking for. Getting real close to where I got a feeling I'm gonna run into him. It's a deep little section there, and it tends to do very well when it gets this debris off. That won't help attract the fish, but let's see. This could be the one that brings them up. Oh, something just hit it, but a little guy. That's not uncommon that you get the little guy. There we go. That's a good cast. Oh, something just swiped at it. I'm truly hoping you guys get to see what I'm talking about. There we go. That's a good one. Good spot. Oh, yeah, I got one. He's not the big boy, but I'm thankful I got him. At least I got a fish. He's a fighter. All right, let's see. Yep, he's a nice smallmouth bass. Ah, no, that's a largemouth bass. All right. Well, I've never caught a largemouth bass on this one spot, but here's a nice pretty largemouth. So say hello to everybody. I'm going to get a picture of this one.